Sabres fans, I'm doing this for you. I actually cannot believe how you put up with it. Playoff disappointments are one thing. Disappointments in season are one thing. To set your team up so poorly and I don't understand how you can for 1 second stress patience, stress building this prospect pool just to throw it away because what? You have a third line center need and you're just going to give up one of your best prospects to do that. I actually cannot understand how in today's NHL, with today's technology, with today's scouting, with today's analytics, you are making a trade like this. And on top of it, you're trading with a team that clearly doesn't have the leverage to make a deal like this. Like Edmonton is laughing this offseason. They've already made a bunch of bargain type deals through free agency. And they were going to move one of their bottom six forwards to create more space for their long-term extensions coming up. Ryan McLeod being one of those players that wasn't much of an impact in the Stanley Cup final, was probably on the outside in terms of them bringing in Jeff Skinner, in terms of them bringing in Victor Arvidsson. Like, what are we doing? Pulling this up right now because I actually cannot believe I'm looking at this. The Buffalo Sabres have acquired Ryan McLeod and Tyler Tullio, which I actually like Tyler Tullio, but he's not going to be anything crazy flashy next to Matt Savoie, one of the Buffalo Sabres' best prospects. Kevin Adams, what are you doing? This is the best way I can describe it. The Sabres have been making the most shocking moves this offseason in the worst way. Kevin Adams is cooked. And here's the three moves that I didn't like. 1, trading a second-round pick for Beck Malenstein, who's going to be your fourth liner. Is he going to be a good fit for the Buffalo Sabres? Potentially. But a second-round pick for a fourth liner is absurd. 2, you could go big fish hunting. And I'm not just talking about free agency. I'm talking about you could do it through a trade. And you just commit $5 million to Jason Zucker. Yes, only a 1-year deal. I don't hate it as much as these other two moves. But at the end of the day, Jason Zucker was thrown away for pennies at the deadline because of his high cap hit. So even if the Sabres aren't good this year, you're going to have to retain 50% of Jason Zucker to even have a chance at getting a decent draft pick. And when I mean decent draft pick, I mean like a third or second round pick. And that's basically getting your pick back that you traded for a fourth or got a fourth liner for. And then this third move. And this is like another way to put it. Matt Larkin talking about Matt Savoie trade has Forsberg for Martin Erat, lot of vibes. I don't know if you guys remember Philip Forsberg drafted high by the Washington Capitals, I believe 11th overall, top 15, and there was some question marks about his draft. That's not the case with Matt Savoie here, guys. Like, to me, this is actually, if not worse. Like, Ryan McLeod, maybe a change of scenery, closer to home. Obviously, being from the GTA, Buffalo's closer to home, a lot closer to home. He can be their designated third line center, 6'3", only 24 years old still. Like, there's a lot of perspectives where you can be like, you know what, Sabres fans, you could like Ryan McLeod, but not at the cost of Matt Savoie. This is ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. When you have like Oslin and other prospects you could have traded here. And I just look at that stat line. Like, this guy, you know what? I don't care if he wasn't going to fit into the Sabres lineup this year or next year. I truly think that patience was the play for this player. Paint Krebs, maybe not. But when you're talking about Zach Benson jumping on the scene and a guy that just put up 71 points in 34 games in the dub, almost a goal per game, looks electric. His hands, his speed, his creativity. He looks like he's going to be dynamic, and Edmonton just sat back and goes, hey, we got to get rid of Ryan McLeod somehow. Let's see what the market is for Ryan McLeod. Okay, Matt Savoie, immediately our best prospect. Come on board. He's definitely one of the best prospects on the Oilers. Probably the best, and he was one of the best prospects on the Sabres, and just Kevin Adams tossed him away. And, yeah, Dustin Nielsen, I guess he's saying it instantly becomes the Oilers' top prospect. Off the top of my head, I mean, that sounds right. So, yeah, I mean, Oilers fans are laughing. They can't believe. I mean, the NHL world can't believe. For me, it's not even a perspective of, like, it's a bad fit. Like, I think actually Ryan McLeod could be a great fit with the Buffalo Sabres. It's about asset management, folks. Like, I'm not talking about these guys that they're bringing in are bad fits. Like, Beck Malenstein, like, I like the player. I do. I actually think he's going to be perfect for the Sabres' fourth line. But at the same time, what are we doing? Like, the fact that you moved a second-round pick that became Cole Hudson, and you traded Matt Savoie, one of your best prospects, for a third and fourth liner. Like, oh my, what are we doing, man? And the Sabres have, like, $15 million of cap space. It's crazy, man. The Sabres have all the leverage, all the space, and you make a trade like this. It's crazy, man. I swear, if you waited a couple months, I actually think Ryan McLeod could have been had for so cheap. Like, I think if you wait till August, September, when the Oilers are trying to figure out their cap situation, like, we're talking a second or third round pick for Ryan McLeod. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel based on the projection of where Edmonton needs to be at to start the season and for their upcoming contracts. So this trade obviously bugs me, and then I look at this one again. Beck Malenstein for a second round pick that ends up being Cole Hudson. So Sabres fans are going to keep an eye on this, right? What Cole Hudson becomes, what Matt Savoie comes. Like, that's going to be a perspective. When Matt Savoie comes into the league, boom! Boom! It's going to be a huge perspective. And here's what I'll say, and I'm talking to Kevin Adams on this one. If you don't make a trade like this immediately, that trade you just made makes 0 sense. 0. You committed now to being ready to make the playoffs now. You overpay now for a top 6 forward. You do it now. You do it yesterday. And honestly, they should go all out for Ehlers and Rutger McGroarty, or one of them. Ehlers, there's been rumors that they're going after Ehlers or Martin Necas. You make that trade yesterday now. The Sabres have so much cap flexibility. You package Krebs. I know Sabres fans don't want to lose Benson, but you know what? Kevin Adams just made a statement by trading Matt Savoie. You cannot make a move like that unless you're committing to making the playoffs. And now the Sabres need to commit to make the playoffs. You trade your first, you trade Benson, you get Nikolai Ehlers, a guy that can put up 60, 70 points, and you get Rutger McGroarty, who can easily be a top 6 forward. I think Rutger McGroarty fits better what the Sabres are trying to accomplish than Zach Benson, and Ehlers immediately a top 6 forward, potentially a top line guy with Tage Thompson. I think you make a move like this. Ryan Johnson, not going to get his opportunity with Buffalo at this point, right? Maybe he does. I think he should. I love the player. Again, you're talking about Bowen Byram, Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power, Matthias Samuelsson, all left shot defensemen that are filling up the top 6. Then you add in Clifton and Yoki Haru in it. You trade Yoki Haru or you trade Ryan Johnson, or somehow you get rid of that Connor Clifton contract. Regardless, you're trading a defenseman. You trade Zach Benson. You trade a first. You get Ehlers and McGroarty in here. That's the package. If you're not doing a move like this, like if Kevin Adams over the next month is not trading for a Martin Necas, Patrick Laine, Nikolai Ehlers, making a bold move like that, this Ryan McLeod move, the Beck Malenstein move, they make no sense, and it's stupidity. Like, you should be going into the new season with an electric top 6 forward, because at this point, you just sent a message that you don't have trust in your young guys that you drafted. Like, talking about a top 10 draft pick. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I have a huge problem with having a lack of direction. It's not even a matter of making mistakes, making bad moves. I have a huge problem with a lack of direction. And to me, this screams lack of direction. Just to get a quick fix on your third line center spot to trade what? Potentially, like, I think Matt Savoie could be as good as a top liner in a few years. So I have a huge problem. I have a huge problem. And Kevin Adams, let's see what's next. Because right now, I'm so frustrated for Sabres fans. Like, this is not just yesterday or the day before where, like, this has been time now where you, like, the gaslighting has been occurring. And, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud. Like, Jack Eichel, 2015, like, that was down bad. That was rock bottom. You're talking a decade later. Jack Eichel's won a Stanley Cup. You're talking about a decade later. and you're still basically in the same position. The only difference is I love the Sabres, what they're doing on the defense group side, and they have two goalies that have, the Sabres goaltending situation is as bright, or if not the brightest in the NHL. Like, I think Devin Levi is going to be a stud, and Luukkonen showed last year what he can be capable of. So in terms of the defense group and in terms of the goaltending, maybe there's an argument that Buffalo has to trade one of their left shot for a right shot, but oh my gosh, please, and this is where I think Sabres fans might have to be nervous. I just watched Ottawa trade Jacob Chychrun for Nick Jensen. That makes me so nervous for a Sabres team that has the same dilemma as Ottawa. Like, the same way that Ottawa traded for Chychrun, thinking, okay, I know we already have Shabbat, I know we already have Sanderson, but let's bring in Chychrun because he's that legit, and who cares about the handness? Well, folks, that's what Buffalo basically did last year. They brought in Bowen Byram, and I'm worried that the same thing's going to happen. They're going to feel that they need change, that they need right shot defensemen, they're going to overpay for another Connor Clifton type, and then they're just not going to know the perspective of value management, asset management, and I'm having a problem with that with Sabres right now. Just making moves, basically showing your desperation to other teams. We need a third line center. Matt Savoie traded. Like, there's got to be some patience involved, and I understand Sabres management has been patient to an extent, but Sabres fans have been waiting around for so long. Like, I can't remember when the Sabres were actually a serious organization since the 2000s, when watching like the Sabres and Sens battle it out in the playoffs. When's the last time Buffalo was serious since then? So Sabres fans, I am so with you on this that it's getting absurd. And if Kevin Adams and this management group does not make a move in terms of like a Nikolai Ehlers, Martin Necas, or something notable over the next month or prior to the season, if they make this their last move going into the new season with, like I said, close to $15 million of cap space, we're going to have a huge, huge issue. And I'm going to cancel this trade. And just looking at, if Luukkonen signs $3.5 million, Beck Mallenstein around $1.5, you have about $9 million of cap space. $9 million of cap space. There better be a move coming. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that subscribe button, like, notification bell. This was my rant. Hopefully you're on the same page with me. I'm Sabres fans. I feel you. Talk soon.